First though, I think I'm going to head off and take a look at what I think is the absolute star of this show. And believe it or not, it comes from Honda, who have finally managed to give us the Fireblade we've all been dreaming of for at least 10 or 15 years. To get to the Fireblade, I have to walk past this little beauty, which is a concept that Honda is calling the CB4X. It's rather pretty, and that's because it was designed in Italy. It looks, in profile at least, very much like BMW's S1000XR or Ducati's Multistrada. One of those do-it-all bikes that can tour or commute and still retain a sporty character. Kawasaki has the Versys, and now it seems like Honda is perhaps preparing us for something similar. The designation is a bit weird though, because CB Hondas have always been naked, and this obviously isn't. The 4 seems to refer to the number of cylinders, the CB1000R's engine would seem a natural fit, and the X generally means, at least in Honda's world, that it will be some sort of tourer. Enough of the CB4X. No matter how pretty it is, and it is rather lovely, it is still just a distraction from the main event. And we have to ignore this, I'm afraid. It's the CB1000R. We haven't seen this in South Africa yet, and I really do hope they bring it in. But again, it's just a distraction, because round the corner here is the main event, the Fireblade. And here it is, winglets and all. After what seems like a lifetime of waiting and a lifetime of disappointment, as Honda continued update after update to give us the softest, most sensible and, let's face it, generally the most boring of the superbikes, they have thrown caution to the wind and obviously had a heavy office drinking session where they decided to rejoin the superbike wars in full force. And thank goodness they did. Go drinking, that is, because the numbers suggest that this is going to be a bit of a fire-breathing monster. Those numbers have pretty much launched the 2020 Blade to the top of the superbike charts. Only the super expensive homologation special Ducati V4R can boast more horsepower, and then that's only by a couple of horses. 214.5 horsepower is what Honda's claiming, and that's more than all the other inline 4-cylinder superbikes. Significantly more in most cases. That peak is reached at 14,500 RPM, and the ability to rev comes with an engine that has the same 81mm bore as the MotoGP bike. There's been lots of technological input from Honda's racing department to get this performance, and as a result, the standard Fireblade now wears HRC badges for the first time. Obviously, all the new fancy materials and coatings and electronics in the engine are hidden away, but what is obvious is the gaping big hole in the front of the bike that means some serious ram air breathing. There's a new frame, as you'd expect, and plenty of knowledge taken from the RC213V MotoGP bike, though weight has gone up by 5 kilos in the process. There's going to be 2 versions of the blade, a standard one called the CBR1000RRR, and then the CBR1000RRSP. The standard model gets Showa suspension and Nissin brakes, while the SP version will have electronically controlled Olin suspension and Brembo Stylema calipers. Although I reckon that overall it still looks just a little bit staid, the best bit about the new bodywork is the aerodynamic winglets that Honda say produce as much downforce as last season's MotoGP bike. Honda is showing us video of the bike in action with some little Spanish fella on it, and here's some of what he had to say.
Woo! It's powerful! So nice to ride this bike. And now we will check the acceleration. Oh yeah! Acceleration is there!
Stability, acceleration.
Now we are in a very fast corner and the front is stable. The new winglet is unbelievable. And especially now we are in a very hard brake point and the bike is stopping really well. connection with the gas, yeah, it's amazing. We are spinning out the corner, yeah. The most important is get the rear grip, and we have the rear grip. We are in the last corner of Montmelon, and the way to turn the bike, the handling is unbelievable. And yeah, let's see the top speed. Woo!
That feeling was nice, eh? This bike for me is really good because in the end it's a street bike, and for the fans and all the motorcycles, the passion of the rider also is riding on the street. And then if you want to ride in an easy way, you can ride in an easy way because it's so handling and the engine is very smooth. But then when you want the power, when you want to ride in a circuit, you can use all the torque, all the horsepower. The best bike for the fans and for who love motorbikes.
I don't know who this Marquez fella thinks he is, just because he's ridden it like we're supposed to believe him it's any good. I mean, he's not biased. Apparently, he rides a Honda or something in some kind of racing series. But personally, I don't trust him. What you need to do is wait until Don and me get a chance to ride it, and then we'll be able to tell you if it's any good. But let's be honest, the numbers certainly add up to something that could be pretty special.
There's a big section on the Honda stand for their new Africa Twin, but we'll be riding that within the next couple of weeks, so we won't waste any time showing you any details here. But there is enough time, just, to show you the new addition to Honda's adventure class of scooters. After the 150 version and the 750 version, which was, quite amazingly, the 7th best-selling bike in Europe last year, there is now a 300cc model.
Here's a model that I think Honda should be really bringing into South Africa. I mean, with our obsession with adventure bikes on the African continent, this makes a lot of sense. Yes, I know it's a scooter, but it is an adventure scooter. It's got all the ability you need to be able to actually head off and, well, have an adventure. Go on, Honda, take a punt, bring it in, see if you can actually sell the thing. Okay, we'll be back after this short break when I'll be speaking to Don, fortunately as it happens, about his turn on a pre-production adventure tyre.